Share your screen. Oh, whoa, crazy.
Is it new?
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear us? Will somebody in the chat tell me if you can hear us? All fine and dandy style.
Check.
1 2 1 2. Maybe not. Also, everybody. Okay, Danny says yes. Thank you. He's Queensland, so we'll probably see him when we get up that way. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTube. This is Rhonda.
Hi.
You guys have yet to meet her. She is like mortified right now about doing this live stream. She's been nervous for 2 days. So
Yeah, I feel like throwing up right now.
be kind to her. My crew is a good crew, so I'm not worried about people being mean to her. You guys we have Rhonda came on board in Marlborough Sounds in December 27th. And said was like, yeah, thanks, I'll keep that in mind or something. Totally kind of blew it off, which was understandable. Because she had done the sounds in her van. She did solo van life for 9 months, and she had done the sounds, so we were talking about the sounds. So I was like, well, if you want to come cruising with me, I was looking for someone to like spend some time with up there. I was like tired of being alone in these beautiful places. And then after we talked more, then at some point you decided you'd go for it.
Let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Go for an adventure.
Rhonda came to the boat. And like I said, we'd never met, never spoken. And it felt like we'd known each other 20 years, like right away.
It was crazy. So
she was going to stay like 7 days, and she ended up staying 16 days. And we fell in love. And as you do. And here she is, full-time on Triteia now. She went back to Whangarei, which is where she was living, and packed up her life and just decided to roll the dice on adventure.
Here I am.
And here she is. Let's see what people are saying. People are tuning in. Oh, from England. Paul, you are up very early in the morning. Thank you for tuning in. Sweden as well.
Scotland.
Awesome. Indonesia. We're heading up that way this year. So our adventures in the Marlborough Sounds, I think we're going to have about 10 episodes. I have most of them edited. So those are going to be coming up in a few weeks. So you'll be able to see Rhonda and get a feel for our adventures together style. We had a blast.
That was amazing.
It was a lot. Like we had a lot of storms, a lot of bad weather, a lot of crazy stuff because New Zealand likes to do that. And we had a good time.
We did.
And you've been here, what, 5 days maybe?
Yeah, 5, I think.
5 days. And we're in Black Wattle Bay here in Sydney. This is our third anchorage in the last 3 days. Last night we stayed at Cobblers Bay, which is like a nudist beach, but it was like so rolly.
It wasn't a lot of sleep.
We did not sleep last night at all. So I was like so grumpy this morning. I was like, we are leaving right now. As soon as the sun got up, we hauled up and headed over here, which was nice because then there was like almost no ferry traffic. And we had a very nice motor. The Opera House looked gorgeous in the sunlight.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and we're filming everything too, so you guys will see that eventually. Let's see here. What's happening here? Who's gonna make morning coffee? Coffee in the morning. I make the coffee in the morning, and I serve it to her in bed. That's how it always works. I'm the one.
Spoiled.
That's right. What else? Right now we're having tea. It's like noon here in Sydney. Cheers.
Chin chin.
Nice. Chamomile. Someone just asked, are you heading up the East Coast on south? I don't know how that.
Or south? East Coast or south?
Yeah. Okay. So originally I had hoped to sail from Nelson to Hobart, Tasmania. And I always said, like, that's the goal. If that doesn't work, then I'll try to clear into Eden. And if that doesn't work, last resort is Sydney. Well, I was like, I don't know. I think I was I don't remember. I think pretty early on, I realized the weather
Mm.
was not going to allow me to reach Hobart. There was just no way for the winds. So I was going to try to clear into Eden, and we were like 5 days from Eden. I was in touch with Rhonda via Iridium Go. She was trying to work things out for me to contact Border Force to tell them I was going to clear into Eden. During that process, I found in some fine print that I couldn't clear into Eden because it was actually non-commercial vessels can't. Was they said that when you spoke to them, they said I could, but it would take 10 days.
Oh yeah, we had to apply. And it was just like, oh,
10 days. I was 5 days from shore at that point. So,
and then you didn't know if it was actually going to be a yes or not either.
Exactly.
So it was just like.
So then I was like, and it was actually closer. Sydney was actually closer than Eden was at that point, anyway.
Mm.
And I had been like sailing up, missing these really gnarly weather systems, on my Tasman crossing. And then I got 300 miles from Australia, and my Iridium Go turned into a brick. So, for anyone who doesn't know, this is an Iridium Go. It turns your iPhone, your iPad, or your computer into a sat phone so that you can download weather. It also controls my tracker, and it allows me to send simple text messages to people back home. This thing turned into a brick. It like, we were mid conversation and then she texted and was like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I was like, and I had sent her like a bunch of messages, and I'd noticed that they all just said sending. So I was like, oh, it's like messed up. So I was still getting her messages. I restarted this and it never restarted. It went into this death loop of like, it would reboot and initialize and then crash, and then it kept doing that over. And I would like, I tried to use the pin. I used a pin to like reset it to user settings. It would give me, it looked like it was working then, and within 3 minutes every time it would start this death loop of rebooting. So this thing is tanked, totally toasted now. I'm trying to see if Predict Wind wants to work with us and sponsor Triteia. I've only had this thing like 4 years, and it already failed, and they cost like $1,200 or something crazy. So I'm not sure what the future of this is. But if you were following along in the tracker on my Tasman crossing and you saw that it just stopped, like all my people did, this is what happened. And I was fine. I never had any problems. Everything else was working fine. It's just that my Iridium Go failed. And that was the other thing, is like, technically I could have made Hobart even where I was. When I realized I had to clear into Sydney, I could have spent another 7 days at sea, waited for some northerlies, and went down. But I surely wouldn't have done it without being able to download weather. So I do have Starlink on board, and I tried to install the Starlink after this crash because I don't want to have full internet on board. So I had deinstalled the antenna and everything, and the Starlink would not connect at sea for like 2 days. I think I couldn't get it to connect. Finally, I got it to connect. On the day I was supposed to arrive, I knew that they were going to be really freaking out because I was going to be overdue technically. And I finally got it up and running. And Sarah had activated that. As soon as the tracker went down, Sarah had all my login info. She had gone on and like activated the Starlink. But why don't you talk about your experience of like everything going dark?
Oh yeah, wow. That was just, yeah. I mean, it wasn't so bad initially. I kind of just thought, oh yeah, it'll get going again, or you'll get Starlink going. But at first it was just like, I think that because the last message I'd sent to you was about a ship or something as well, like a container ship. Like I sent like coordinates to a big ship, and I'm like, and that was my biggest concern, was that I didn't know how things were set up, so I wasn't sure if James could actually see if traffic mainly. That was my biggest concern, because I could see the weather and it was all fine. So I was like, no, that's all good. He knows what he's up to. But it was the traffic, that because it was pretty busy. There was a lot of ships, and
there was, I think I saw
cargoes, tankers,
a lot.
Cruise ships.
I think I saw 12 ships. Like visually saw 12 ships, and between Los Angeles and New Zealand, I saw 6 ships.
Yeah.
In almost 10,000 miles. And in the 1,200 miles across the Tasman, I saw 12 ships.
Yeah, that was my biggest. Crazy. That was my biggest concern, was the ships. And as the days, as it got closer to the time of arrival as well, like I had to remember that the time difference, the time difference was changing as well. So I was like keeping that in account. But the closer you got, it felt like my anxiety just grew and grew and grew
Yeah.
and grew the closer he got. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then like Sunday afternoon when he was supposed to arrive, I was just a hot mess. To be
Yeah.
fair, I was getting a bit worried, to say the least. But then, you know, the other people I was talking to were just, you know, like the EPIB. If the EPIB hasn't gone off, then, you know, he'll be floating. He's all good. And it's like, yeah, okay. Just, it's all good. It's all good. And then like what, 5 or just after 5 o'clock New Zealand time?
Mm-hmm.
Whew, text
Yeah,
message.
I
literally
I
like,
texted you and then I FaceTimed
it was so
you.
crazy. I was talking to Miranda, and she was like, just go and do a meditation. I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna lay down, get into a guided meditation, and I literally just lay down and this like music started, and then James texted, and I was just like, holy shit, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like it was crazy. So that was a massive relief. And then I didn't want to hang the phone up when you called. I was like, oh no, I need to just stay here. I can't let him go again.
Yeah.
But no, we were okay. But yeah, it was definitely, I think the biggest part of it is knowing someone's setup and knowing how things work, and knowing that if the audio go win, then, you know, there are other ways of being able to, you know, have not communication, but be able to gather information on board.
Well, you weren't sure if that was linked to my navigation. So that was the other thing. My team didn't know if all my power had failed. They didn't know if I had navigation. They didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I told them in the float plan, I'd said, if everything stops, it could just be that the Iridium Go stopped. And like activate the Starlink at this amount of time. And if I don't show up by X amount of days, then you call the Coast Guard. But Captain Noah Pepper was like, he contacted the Australian Coast Guard kind of the second day just to give them a heads up that they had lost comms with me, which he didn't need to do, but he loves me and he was worried about me, so he did that. But so when I got into radio range, I hear them calling out on the VHF, and they're like asking yachts to look for Triteia, who was like missing. And I was like, I've seen Triteia. I know where she is. They were really cool though.
Stealth.
Sydney Maritime Rescue.
Stealth arrival.
And then they did a flyby. And it was hilarious. I wish I had got it on video. I was talking to them on the VHF. They did a flyby because they gave my coordinates, and then they sent a plane out just to get eyeballs on me. And they asked me when they did the flyby, they're like, oh, we know you have a YouTube channel. Could you give us a shout out on YouTube? And I was like, absolutely. So they did another flyby. I got a good video of it, which will be on the Tasman Sea Crossing passage video. So yeah, Sydney Maritime Rescue, thank y'all so much for keeping eyes out for all of us yachties out there. So yeah, it was all y'all on the team. I think the only one that wasn't worried was Captain David Stovall.
Just chilling.
Which was the whole reason that he was like the one that was supposed to be the point person with the Coast Guard.
So the others didn't just act on.
Yeah. So let's see what's happening. Oh, somebody asked up here. Someone said, I do not have AIS. I don't have AIS transponding. I have receiving. But we have to get it here in Australia, because you have to legally have transponding in Indonesia. So we have to get that installed. Somebody asked up here if a 30-foot boat was comfy enough for two of us. Absolutely. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's way bigger than your van.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah. So she did solo van life for 9 months.
I can stand up.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Triteia is plenty big enough for the both of us.
We're just little.
Yeah. So will you look at those? I'm going to put up the thing because you see this glare.
I see.
So you entertain the YouTube via the comments, maybe.
I see.
If you guys have any questions specifically for Rhonda, drop them in. Well, you can just watch the ones. There's no way to catch you up.
There's too many. Hey, crikey. Thank you. Satellite phone. Why don't you have a satellite phone?
Because I don't need one, because we have Ring Go and now Starlink. But I do think we might as like a double backup. I think that's the next thing that we'll probably get. What else? You seeing some of your people on there?
Yeah, that's little crew. Yo, how's it? Rainy day in Auckland. Rats.
Someone's asking circumnavigation of Australia. Nope. We're just doing the East Coast, going up to Darwin, and then clearing out of Darwin mid-August and sailing to Indonesia. We had hoped to try to get down to Hobart, but our friends Elliot and Miranda have been sitting in Sydney Harbor for like a month and a half looking for weather, and there's just no weather to get down there. And we're going to the Outback in April 27th with Sid Ventures. We're doing a collab with his YouTube channel, and then he's going to come sailing with us in the Whitsundays. So we have to be on the mainland of Australia with the boat in a marina April 20th. Yeah, it was 100 degrees here the other day, which is like 38, I think.
Yeah,
Celsius.
For me, that's something to get used to. I was completely zapped, and just everything as well. The move and stuff. It's been really full on for the last few weeks, and then just getting here and just that heat and the change and settling in, and oh my lord.
Yeah. Well, even emotionally, like you're like huge. Packed up your life. You're like, you know, just like jumping off the cliff.
It's a massive adjustment. Like I have these like waves of just emotion that is just overwhelming, because it's just this as well is just, it's a lot, and it's completely different to my normal life, I suppose, if you like. So yeah, that adjustment, and also just adjusting to actually living on a boat now full time is also.
Someone said, let's see here.
For sure.
So Rhonda's sailing experience. You want to talk about that, Rhonda?
Yeah. So my sailing experiences, I mean, James seems to think I can sail.
She's a Kiwi. Like Kiwis, she grew up on the water. They sailed.
We had a little boat when we were little and stuff. But yeah, many buzzboats and things like that. But I've sailed throughout kind of my teenage years and then sort of young adult years as well, been on yachts. And yeah, just more recently, my ex and I, we were sailing as well. So yeah, I know a little bit.
Yeah, and they were actually in the Bay of Islands when I first got to New Zealand. They were cruising the Bay of Islands while I was there. We were both in Russell when a bunch of those big storms were happening a year ago.
Yeah, and that was a little boat too. It was only a 35. So yeah.
What else? Anybody got any more questions?
Indonesia.
Mint Nutella said, Indonesia, be careful sailing Indonesia. The monsoon, the time you sail through Indonesia is the time we're sailing through Indonesia. We're sailing there in the correct time.
Any books?
What else? Yeah, I have several books.
I'm in good hands. I know I'm in good hands. Yeah, I totally trust James's ability. And I'm sure I'm going to learn a whole lot more as well every day.
Somebody said, am I worried about fishing nets in Indo and Thailand? Yeah, for sure. And that's actually what's interesting is like everything's just going to be so much easier with Rhonda on board now, because it's like we have two of us, especially in Indo, because it's all motoring. There's very little wind. We'll be doing spinnaker sailing and stuff, but
2 sets spies.
It'll be much easier to keep eyeballs on things. And you've never done any ocean sailing?
No, this is my first.
Yeah, so the sail across the Bay of Carpentina, I think is the name of it, at the top of Australia, will be her first like 3-day passage overnight. And then we'll do it'll be like a 5-day passage to Indonesia from Darwin. So that'll be your first sort of ocean stuff.
Yeah, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Really.
Another thing that's really fun for me about Rhonda, she's never traveled anywhere internationally besides Australia. Well, you've been to Australia.
I think I'm 5 times.
5 times
yeah,
before
but
this.
Even still, I'm wowed at things.
Yeah.
And I've been here before.
It's fun that she's like never traveled internationally. So getting to watch her experience foreign places, but the foreign places we're going, neither one of us have been to. But it'll be fun for me because I know she's like really appreciates the same things I appreciate as far as like culture and details and plants and anything like anything different. Like we both appreciate. So it'll be really fun to like watch her experience foreign places.
Yeah.
Someone said night watches will be easier. You don't need to do night watches. I mean, I'll still probably handle all the night watches the same way I did solo. People don't need to sit in the cockpit 24 hours a day. like that old style of watch is completely invalid. Like why people still do it to themselves, I have no idea. With AIS and I mean, you know, me and Holly have sailed more than halfway around the world, each of us solo, and like we keep similar watch schedules. It's wholly unnecessary for someone to always be sitting in the cockpit. I'm not sure why people still do it.
Hi, 80 bug.
Is that a friend of yours?
That's cracking.
What else? Someone asked, we're sailing to the South China Sea. We will not be sailing to South China Sea. We're going to kind of have a steady clip through Indo. We for sure want to stop at like Komodo, see Komodo dragons, Lombok, Bali, and on up to want to go to Borneo, and then clear into Malaysia, and then we're going to just take a train or a bus over to Singapore for a day, and then we're going to keep working our way up Malaysia. We need to be in Thailand by like the beginning of November to make sure we're in the correct monsoons.
What's that? Do we have a no normal house?
Oh no, I've only lived aboard Triteia. I don't even have storage or anything in the States. Like everything I own is on Triteia, and we just have. And she was living in a caravan until like a week ago.
So yeah, I'd been downsizing for a long time as well, so I didn't really have too much stuff to go through. Yeah, so the transition for me wasn't overly. I mean, it was. I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was pretty more emotional, to be fair. Just leaving friends and family and things like that. But downsizing to live on a boat is, yeah, I think I did all right.
You did very good. Someone asked if you're a vegetarian.
I have been vegetarian for a while, but actually started eating meat maybe 16 odd months ago or something. But on the boat, yeah, vegetarian.
Pescatarian. We both eat fish.
Yeah.
So fish is our primary protein as far as like that goes. But what else? Let's see here. You guys got any more questions? I can talk about my Tasman crossing. Was 1,241 nautical miles. Took me like 13 and a half days. I made really good speed until the last few days. As soon as I lost comms, I slowed down to like 2.5 knots. Before that, I was doing like 6 and 7 knots. I was flying like super and really comfortable. The Tasman Sea Crossing was the easiest ocean crossing I've ever done. And it was the one I was the most nervous about since leaving LA. I was like so nervous, but I mean, it is a very deadly, serious ocean. And if you can see my tracker, it just goes like this. It's because I was staying right above these really, really brutal weather systems. I mean, I was just sailing above the tops of highs, on the tops of highs. Good. Yeah.
It looked, watching it, watching you sailing over the weather, like you were. Yeah,
I was very strategic about my passage across the Tasman, and it turned out to be some of the best sailing I've ever had.
Is James a great cook?
Is it what?
Is James a great cook?
No, I am a terrible cook. She's fantastic cook. I eat for utility. So no. With the food has already increased, and actually the fridge is so full you can barely put the lid on, which is very rare. Will we catch and cook? We'll do a catch and cook video. We actually have one coming up from the Sounds where Rhonda caught 2 gurnards in Kitu Bay in Polaris Sound, and then we smoked them on the beach with a kiwi sizzler.
Yeah, that was fun.
Someone said, don't forget to promote my books. I have a lot of people have been asking me about my anchoring workshop that I did. I have the archive for sale. If anyone is interested, I'll post a link right now. And I'll try to remember to put this link in the description of this video, but it's in the chat right now.
Canada, hello.
Let's see. Oh, that's Rob. What up, Rob? Yeah, I mean, I try to do the dishes, but she tends to just do them too. I don't know.
I'm a little OCD like that.
Yeah.
I kind of find it relaxing though. Yeah.
Let's see. So if you guys see Sailing Eva in the live chat, that's my boy Rob. They're overwintering in Alaska. which I think was probably cute for them for like a couple weeks. And I mean, they've been skiing and stuff or snowboarding on the mountains. It looks very beautiful, but yeah, I bet they're not eager to do that again. So what's number one location you want to sail that you haven't before? I don't know. I'm always looking forward, right? So, I mean, I'm excited right now about the sailing up above Brisbane behind the Great Barrier Reef. Really excited about that. I haven't sailed up there, so.
Do you find Triteia a challenge?
Well, I don't.
Well, probably not. You haven't. I might. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, you might.
Yeah, I might.
It is something.
I mean, but in saying that, I probably had a similar size fridge to that in my van. Yeah, maybe a bit smaller. Although it's kind of kooky shape, but yeah. I mean,
the freezer space is like that big. That's the tricky part.
Yeah, I guess if we were gonna catch fish or something, then
you just
we'd have to eat it, but we wouldn't be able to just excessively.
Someone said, "Do you find space a challenge having an extra person on board?" It's funny because I did a big purge before she got here, and you showed up with 2 hard suitcases and then a dry bag, and she has tons of space. I mean, I've got
more space than him.
Yeah, I got on your side. Yeah, you have a lot more space.
Yeah,
and which means I need to get rid of more stuff. Like I got rid of probably 35% of my clothes before she showed up, and it was stuff that I hadn't touched since Los Angeles. Like I hadn't put it on. It was in dry bags down below, and I'm like, what is this stuff doing on the boat? Like you end up just not needing much.
And I seriously think I'm just going to get rid of more stuff because it's so warm here. Like I knew it was going to be warm, but my warm compared to outside of New Zealand warm, it's a whole different level. I'm just so hot. Like I'm like, whoa, this is quite an adjustment. And I look at my clothes and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I can't wear you. I can't wear you. I can't wear you.
Someone said you skip the South Island next time. I didn't skip the South Island. I went to Marlborough Sounds. I was Ann Nelson. I was there for like 2 months.
We'll go back and do a roadie. I'll show James some stuff.
Can't see it all. It's impossible to see everything. Sailing Shillong. I remember you guys from New Zealand. They have a YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out and subscribe to their channel. What else? Someone says, any more classes in the near future? What do you think I should do a class on? I mean, I could do one on like cruising. I want to do a specialty anchoring class at some point. I think a year from now, we're going to shoot a video talking about like her concerns and fears right now. And then a year from now, we're going to shoot a follow-up so that we can compare and contrast what she thought cruising life was going to be like versus what it was. And so it'll be really interesting.
It'll be really, really interesting. Yeah. Also, just I reckon the amount that I would have learned as well throughout that time.
Someone said, any items you recommended Rhonda need to buy for live aboard? Nothing really. I mean, I have everything since I've been living aboard for so long. I think the only thing you didn't bring this first trip that you need to get over is your sewing machines.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only thing. That's the other thing. It's like with her bringing her sewing machines from New Zealand, I realized, and this had already been a problem before I met Rhonda, was that I had to buy a new drill in New Zealand, and I had to buy something else like a vacuum or something, and it's like 220 volt or 240 voltage and a Kiwi plug. So I was like, you have to use a little inverter. So I'm actually going to buy like another inverter that's 240. That's a marine grade inverter that we'll install for anything that we have to buy. And it'll also work for her sewing machines. But I would realize like that is like a really smart way to handle. Once you get out in the world, you're going to end up buying tools because your old tools will die. So that's a really good option. You can just buy a 240 in Boulder. And if you're planning on going cruising and you're living in the United States, you might as well install both inverters now because it's there, and then you have it once you get someplace, or when you have to buy something that's a different voltage. Let's see here. So you should film something where Captain Cook ran aground and repaired his ship. We plan on it for sure. We're going to go to Cooktown and go up the river where they beached it. I visited Ship Cove in Queen Charlotte Sound, and I've been editing that episode, and I talk a lot about that. But we just went on the Endeavor replica
2 days ago.
2 days ago, here at the Maritime Museum. It was so cool, and I
Mm.
couldn't believe how small that ship was.
It was tiny.
It was so small. Shocking. For 91 people, I don't even know how they stored enough food and water to do a 3-year voyage. It's just like...
Cool.
What else? Foul weather gear. We use Mustang survival gear for foul weather gear. But we're going to be coastal cruising for the next like 6 months, so won't be a lot of need for that stuff.
Maybe a spinnaker setting and dropping class.
I think a racer would be better at that than me. I'm probably not that graceful at it.
Is that a Dramamine? Oh, is this a seasickness thing?
She doesn't get seasick.
No.
Which is fantastic. I mean, I rarely ever get seasick. I haven't thrown up in years, but she doesn't.
I'm interested to see if I will.
She does not at all, which is very handy.
Yeah.
Someone said, you thought about a portable lithium battery. Well, I don't want anything that's like portable because we have no stowage space on this boat. So I wouldn't go that route. I could get one, like Dakota Lithium would send me one of those, but I don't know where we would keep it. Like, space is very limited on the boat. Even as it is, like, we have this old life raft that can't be mounted on the deck, which makes me insane. I wish we had one of those hard shell ones, and it takes up so much space. What else? You guys have any more questions? Is Rhonda's dad Graham on here? Yeah. Is he?
I don't know.
You see him? Graham, if you're on here, say hello in the chat. Someone said they love the long passage videos. There's my Solo to the Sounds passage video coming very soon, within the next month. I have so much content. Oh, Lucy's on. Hi, Lucy. I have so much content. The channel's going to have like 2 videos a week for kind of the foreseeable future. There's like 1 or 2 weeks where it doesn't, but my Solo to the Sounds passage video is coming up, and then my Solo Tasman Crossing film will be coming out, I don't know, in a couple months. Carol asked, Rhonda brought her sewing machines. She didn't. On this trip, we're going to get them shipped over. Probably get them shipped to Brisbane, I would think.
Yeah.
We kind of needed to sort everything out space-wise.
Yeah.
And we have to sort out the other settee in Triteia is like short. So we kind of have to modify the bulkhead so I can sleep on that side with my feet going into the hanging locker. So that I'm going to give her the nice side.
I reckon we should just tag team it.
I'll keep the Hobbit side.
Paper, rock, scissors.
What else? Where do you shower? We have a shower in our head. Our head's a wet head, and we have a hot water heater, or a water heater rather. So when the engine's running, we have hot water, and we just shower in the head. We don't have a water maker though, so we have to be cautious about water consumption when we're offshore. Oh, Lucy said she's mid anti-foul coats. Yeah, we saw you were sanding your bottom. Excited. I can't believe I just did that in Maharangi. And the boat is so much faster with the new bottom paint. It is like wild.
That's cool.
Someone said, techie question, what do I use to edit my videos? I use Final Cut Pro to edit all my videos.
The hand crank machines. Yeah, I saw a really cool one in Nelson, actually. It was in really good condition, a beautiful singer. It's the hand crank, which would be really cool to have.
Those Sailrights are amazing machines, but they're super expensive and they weigh like as much as Triteia does.
Those do.
They're so heavy. Someone said, how's the transition from being a solo sailor to the lovely situation you're in now? She's only been here 5 days, but we spent 16 days on board as strangers, and it was perfect. Like, it was just like very chill. We were both comfortable. We weren't even never in each other's way, and we drove the boat together like we'd been doing it for years. This old salt we became good friends with, Nigel and his lovely wife Dale. Nigel saw us in a sketchy situation at the fuel dock in Havelock. And then after we were chatting with them, having tea a couple days later, he was like, because they were like, how long you know each other? We're like, 5 days. And he was like, I thought you guys had been doing that for years, because like we just managed the boat very well together. That's the other thing, is she's really good at driving the boat. So that takes like so much, it makes life so much easier for me. What else?
Do we have any upgrades in mind?
Upgrades for Triteia?
Maybe.
I don't think so. What would we upgrade? Oh, well, we might add a battery. Might have Dakota send us a 200 and I can't remember what their new thing is, like 260 watt or 260 amp hours, and we'll add it to our system. So, Rhonda has like a chamomile addiction, and you'll see in one of our upcoming videos together that we tap the batteries out.
It was like day 2 or something.
Day 2, it was like very stormy, and we kept using the electric kettle, and it's a really high demand appliance, and we brought the batteries really low, and I was getting alarms on the thing, but I tested it. We pulled everything out in the rain, and I tested everything, and it was showing 13.8 volts. But what I didn't do before I tested the batteries was I didn't turn off all the solar switches.
Yeah.
So it was giving us a reading of what was coming in through the solar, but the batteries were so low. We made a big dinner with the electric galley. Then like that morning it was tapped. But then once we motored to the next spot, it was fine. We never had a problem again.
No.
But I think we'll add another battery to just because normally I eat so minimally, and she actually cooks like amazing meals. So yeah, we definitely are using more battery juice but at least we're getting back into the tropics and out of New Zealand. So there's actually sunshine. What else? Oh, someone said Nelson Bay.
Oh yeah.
So we met these racers in, what was the name of this? Stayed at this, like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, terrible marina. Was it Cruising Yacht Club of Australia? The marina was nice. The people at the marina that actually works at the marina were really nice, and the racers on the boat next to us were super nice. We had a good visit with them. But everybody in the yacht club, like, they treated me like I was trash, and they were really rude to me, and it was like a terrible, which isn't surprising. It's a yacht club. But we met these racers. It was a really nice racer guy who was chatting me up. And he was saying Nelson Bay was fantastic. So we plan on going to Newcastle and then popping up to Nelson Bay for a couple days, because he said there's giant sea turtles there and it's really beautiful. Like, we heard a lot of good stuff about Nelson Bay.
Yeah.
What else? Someone asked if you could see the Milky Way with the naked eye at sea. The Milky Way is like so bright at sea that it looks sculptural. Like, it looks like it has, you can see its mass, you can see it in such a fantastic way. But there's it's very difficult to photograph the stars at sea because of the movement is very, very tricky.
Typical yachties.
What else? How many people we got on here? I don't see her. 245. Hello, everyone. The reason I even stayed at the CYCA, that yacht club, is because when I came in, there was a regatta happening and all the marinas were booked out. And like, Rhonda called everyone, and the only person that had any room other than rush cutters, which they wanted like $116 a night for a 30-foot boat. And the yacht club was $61 a night. So it was like almost half as much, and they were next to each other. So that was literally the only place that I could. So I stayed there like 3 days when I first arrived, and then I actually moved here. We're at Black Wattle Bay, and I spent a couple nights kind of trying to recover, waiting for Rhonda to finish up stuff in New Zealand. What else? Planning on going inland while in Australia. Yes, I mentioned a little earlier, we're going to the Outback with Sid Ventures. He has a small YouTube channel and a massive following on Instagram. He has like 500,000 followers on Instagram, but he's trying to build his channel. So I met him. I had lunch with him in LA when I was there last August or something. And he's like a professional trail guide for the Outback. So we're going to go out with Sid to the Outback to Alice Springs, I think. And we'll be in the Outback for 9 days with him and a tour group that he's doing, filming that. And then he's going to meet us maybe at the Whit Sundays and spend a week sailing on Triteia, filming for both of our channels. So that'll be awesome. I'm excited to go to the Outback.
Me too.
And he knows all the things that are going to try to kill us. So
Perhaps we should have that first.
what else? Someone asked if we're heading south. No, there's just no weather, and we're on a time frame because we have to be up in Brisbane by April 20th to put the boat up to go to the Outback. So we're not going to be able to make Tasmania, unfortunately. But you can't see it all. Someone said bring a geologist. Sid Ventures is a geologist. We're going to Pittwater probably in like 3 days. So we'll be in Pittwater probably a week. Oh, Cornbread Cuban thinks I'm talking about baby back ribs, I think. Someone said, after Australia, where are you going next? We're going to Indonesia and then Thailand. We'll be in Thailand by November, and then we can't leave Thailand until April. That's like the safe time to sail across the Indian Ocean. So we'll be in Thailand for like 4 months. We're going to try to find a marina, put the boat out in Thailand, and maybe fly to Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia and do some inland travel up there.
What's that?
Where am I at now? We're in Sydney in Australia. What else? Someone said American Bay and Refuge Bay. That's exactly where we're heading. Broken Bay, but yeah, specifically we're heading to American Bay because USA.
Be rude not to.
Someone shouting out from California. What up? California knows how to party. How long will the Indian Ocean crossing be? Well, we're going to do it. I think what I would like to do is I would like to go to Sri Lanka and then Sri Lanka to the Maldives, but it depends on the political stability of Sri Lanka at that time. I have no interest in going places that have the potential to be like, turn into a coup overnight or have a really bad situation. So we avoid risk at all costs. So what we'll do is we'll sail from Phuket to Maldives to Chagos to Seychelles to Madagascar. Right now, that's the idea. And then we want to spend like a month and a half in Madagascar before sailing to South Africa. What else? They said they snorkeled at Nelson last week. Yeah, we're excited about Nelson Bay.
I'm really excited about Nelson.
Seems like it'd be cool. Aloha from San Pedro.
Pineapple crab curry.
Someone's asking about pirates, which gets asked about every time I do one of these. I have a whole video talking about imaginary dangers and risks. You can go on the YouTube channel and search the Cruisers mini series, and I have a whole thing about pirates versus bandits. Someone said a couple were just murdered and thrown in a boat in Grenada. Yep. And how many people were murdered on land on the same day that they were murdered on their boat? There's like one couple gets murdered in 20 years on a cruising boat, and then everybody thinks that it's dangerous to go cruising, which is absurd. San Diego Public Dock. What else? You guys have any more questions for Rhonda? Put her on the hot seat.
No. I don't need a hot seat.
We have more tea. You can introduce your
My Stan. Welcome, Stan. Stan comes everywhere. People that know me, no. They know Stan.
Someone said, James, I liked your 59 North videos sailing up north on a huge boat. How does it compare to your little 30-foot boat? Pros, cons. For one, it didn't even feel like ocean sailing to me. Like on that sail from Greenland to Iceland, almost everyone was super sick. Even Andy Schell was like bunk ridden because he was so sick. I was taking his watches, and it didn't even feel. I couldn't feel the motion. I was editing video at the table, and Andy came out and he was like really sick, and he's like, "Well, obviously you're feeling fine," but it honestly didn't feel like ocean sailing because that boat was so big. I couldn't even, it felt like nothing. So I was fine. It was an awesome experience. Like, I think it's a really great organization and a way for people to get offshore sail training. And it seems like a lot of cost. Like, they have like $5,000 trips or 10,000, like that was a big one. So it's a $10,000 trip. But if you think about, like, if you went to like a grad school where there's only like, I don't know, 8 people in the class, and you get boutique training while also having all your room and board taken care of, and you're getting like serious offshore experience, it is a very low cost to pay for the experience that you get. And there were at least 2 people on that passage, dudes that were shopping for boats that were like $125,000, $150,000 ocean going boats. They're like shopping, and then they did that. And 2 of them I asked, I was like, okay, so I asked everyone, what's your thoughts now? Are you still going to pursue ocean sailing? And 2 of them were like, nah, I'm good with coastal cruising. Like, they stopped shopping for blue water boats because it was just, they did not enjoy it because they got so sick, and it was like much harder than they thought. So that's why I always tell people to get out on the ocean, go sailing with a proper like skipper or that knows how to do it on a proper boat, so that you actually know if you want to go ocean sailing, because before you make the investment of a blue water boat. I love Andy. He's a good buddy of mine. So it was wonderful to have that adventure with him, but I'm into small boats. I like small boats myself. Rhonda, what type of sewing do you do?
Well, my sewing prior to that, and yes, the tea is tasting good, thank you. I was sewing, my background is kind of like cycling as well. So I started out sewing cycling caps, and also like frame bags and bike related things. But
do you have one of those hats handy?
Oh, not super handy.
Oh, they're really well, they're very well made.
Just, your soft peak caps that you'd wear under a cycling helmet. That's kind of how I started. Well, I mean, I'd been sewing bits and pieces before, but that's kind of what really kicked it off for me as well. I was making all sorts of little things for my van and things like that. Little custom bits and pieces. I would love to start getting into a bit more clothing again.
You're thinking about doing bucket hats, right?
Yeah, and I want to make a bucket hat, but that's been on the cards for such a long time. Just little kind of projects, but that'd be fun to do. And the machines I have an industrial singer, and just a little baby lock as well, which I'll bring. It'd be cool to make some like just custom things for the boat as well, little pockets and things like that.
We have a lot of stuff that could need to get made. We need to make chaps for the dinghy. We need to make a new sunshine. Mine. We actually have to repair that today after this live thing. We have to hand sew it. But somebody's asking again about your sailing experience. Rhonda grew up on boats and sailing in the Hauraki Gulf. She's from Auckland. And more recently, did you take a sailing class recently to get a refresher?
Just a little sailing lesson. It was just little boats.
Yeah, but so she's cruised like New Zealand on boats. So she's a proper sailor. Like when she thinks she isn't, but like when we were together, we didn't talk about anything. I was like, okay, let's prepare to attack. Boom, she was on it, on the sheets. I didn't have to explain anything. It was like, so she is a proper sailor. She already has sailing experience, but she like doubts herself and thinks she doesn't know. But she can also drive like precision up to a mooring, so I can pick up the mooring. Fantastic.
Yeah. We'll see.
Says, we love your photography, Rhonda. Any thoughts about a book for this new venture?
Oh, a book for my photography. That'll be fun.
And your journaling. She journals a lot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've just started a new one as well. Another one. So I've got like 3 journals on the go at the moment. One specifically for anchorages and things.
What are you most excited to see on your trip, Rhonda?
Oh, just everything, I think. No land is what I'm really excited to see, for sure.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you've been talking about that.
Yeah, no land. I think I'm just so interested to see how I feel about that as well. What that kind of brings up. Yeah, I'm really looking for that. But just everything. I mean, far out. The world's epic. And even just around here, there's just so many. There's just so many. Like, even in New Zealand, honestly, like I just fizz out on everything. So and at the moment I'm really kind of not struggling, but it's a really difficult thing to get used to as well. Like it doesn't feel real. This feels like a dream, and I'm really grateful, and it just everything wows me. I mean, for goodness sake, I can walk down the bloody street and see a plant growing out of a freaking side of a wall or something. So it doesn't take a lot to to get me fizzing. So it's gonna be exhausting, I think, mentally, just seeing all of this new stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a pretty wicked way to see the world for the first time, that's for sure.
And also, like, her old Instagram account was like private, and so we've talked about this before, but like starting a new relationship and being thrown into like the spotlight of a public with someone that's like has a large following on YouTube and like a decent following on Instagram for like a new relationship for you to be kind of like tossed like, into the fire.
Like my sewing account, my Monday Roots account, like that was all public, and you know there was like bikepacking missions and adventures and things all on that, you know, public, which is fine. But that was me as well. That was my own little growth thing. But to be thrown into this and just straight off the bat, just especially on Instagram when we were selling in the Sounds, like my personal account just got bombarded with requests, and that was overwhelming. And the anxiety that came from when I opened up my account as well.
So I'll share her Instagram account right now. So if you guys want to check it out, you'll see all the stuff she's been sharing.
Yeah, like that grew pretty quickly.
She had one video kind of go off the rails. She has like 116,000 views. So I don't even have a video that has that many on Instagram.
That's the sickness one, isn't it?
Yeah, where it looks like
journaling.
She's journaling and like the boat's going like this, but
yeah,
she doesn't get seasick though, thankfully. So yeah, there's her Instagram account, which is in the chat right now, and I think it's in the it's probably listed in the description of this video as well. What's happening here?
Coco. What is this?
Coco's Keeling. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be going to Coco's Keeling. It looks really cool though. Someone asked me if I have any idea how to convince your partner how to buy a ship and mortgage. I would never. I mean, I personally, and actually, this is like a good thing to talk about. Before I met Rhonda, I mean, I had already given up. Like, it was like I've been single for the last 2.5 years because it's impossible to date in a traditional way. Like since I left LA, because I'm always on the move, and I knew that I would never, if I ever did find someone that I was going to have a relationship with, I wouldn't date anyone that wasn't either a sailor or at least had done van life, who had been used to living in a small space with almost no creature comforts. And then 2.5 years later, right like 30 days before I'm leaving New Zealand, I meet Rhonda, who is a sailor and a former van lifer. So that's certainly, you know, it's like I would never, it's kind of a recipe for disaster, or it can be, I guess, to try to, I would never want to try to convince someone that this life is for them. Like if they did it, you went on small trips and you're like, well, they were interested in it, then that's a different thing. But like trying to have someone move out of a big house into a small boat with like, it's basically just slightly elevated camping full time.
Yeah.
It is, it's a, you know, you have to you either really love it or it's not for you.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. That's for sure. Like, you know, you get that whole, oh, you know, you're living the dream, blah, blah, blah. And I talk about this a lot. And especially with the van as well, I used to get it too. And it's just like, this is not easy. This is like last night, for instance, you know, I don't know how much sleep. I don't think James got a lot of sleep. And
I slept very little last night because it was so rolly.
Yeah, and having to function as well. You know, the reality of that. And then this as well, you know, like getting to a new anchorage, anchoring, then coming on and doing this, you know, like we've slept very little.
Yeah.
And
we left as soon as the sun was above.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even above the landscape. We had enough light to see.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not an easy option to live this way. That's for sure. And a small space, especially. So
a couple questions in the thing. One, what do I do for an income? YouTube has been my full-time job since June of 2021. So YouTube is the funds everything. Kelly Green is heading to Fiji next month. Soft coral is fantastic. Asking, they're staying in, any suggestions? We're staying in the Yasawas. Are you on a boat or are you on land? I'd say Draqua Island is the best soft coral I've ever seen in my life, which is in the Yasawas. Fantastic soft coral. Make sure you go to the Yasawa Caves on Yasawa Island. If you're on a boat, anchor there and wait until all the tour boats are gone, and then just go to the caves, and you can just easily climb over the fence if it's locked. So don't pay for a tour. Go there by yourself. This is what me and Holly, when actually that's the first time I met Holly. She was anchored at Yasawa Caves when I pulled up, anchored next to her, not even realizing it was Holly. We corresponded before, and then they're hauling up. I see her on deck. I was like, oh shit. And she was like, and she yelled at us. She's like, just jump over the fence. Don't pay for the thing. So I had it all to myself, and her sister had it all to themselves. So go to the Yasawa Caves, but don't do it with a group. Yasawa is fantastic. Somebody asked if we are dating.
If we're dating?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We live together full time, and we are.
I think we skipped the dating part.
Yeah.
We just moved,
I play Barry White at night, so if that's a question you're asking.
Past go, collected tendrils.
Let's see. Someone said, if I had an opportunity to own a super yacht, would you? Yeah, I would own it long enough to sell it to fund our life on a 30-foot boat. How many pushing can you do while on your sailboat? I'm not sure what that means.
Pushing?
I have no idea.
100,000 renovating the kitchen.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Oh, someone asked how I keep fit while on board. We actually talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
I just lucked into the genetics. Like, I don't work out. Oh, well, actually, living on the boat is pretty physical activity. Especially, I always lose weight on crossings because you just don't eat much, and it's very physically demanding. Other than that, I just walk. Like, you do yoga.
Yeah.
But that's like a lot of mental health as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't work out, and I kind of eat whatever I want. But I'm sober. I don't drink beer or anything, so I think that helps a lot. I know a lot of dudes when they get older, they drink a lot, and that's where a lot of their weight comes from.
And when we're off the boat, we walk everywhere, and we both walk at a pretty decent pace as well. So
yeah, like we're on fire.
Yeah, we're just on a mission.
What else?
Oh, push-ups.
Oh, I don't know.
What?
I'm too lazy to do push-ups. Someone said, are you going to release your Anchor Zoom class? Yes, I have the archive for sale. I'll post a link right now. I set it up just before this for this because a couple people have already bought the archive. There's the link to the archive, just $25 US. Oh, hello, Samantha. Nice. Oh, I'm glad that you can actually. Last time you guys were on, you couldn't. You weren't able to chat. So I'm good to see you guys. Someone said, if a wizard gave you one wish, what would it be?
I think I've got mine.
My one wish is I want to kiss the tortoise Jonathan right on his head. That's what I want to do. We're going to sail to St. Helena, and hopefully he's still alive when we get there. So I just want to give Jonathan, the very old tortoise, a kiss. That's what
tortoise. Thanks, Chance.
What else? How many people got? 248. That's nice. See, the funny thing is like Rhonda was so terrified.
I was scared
of this experience. Is it bad now?
It's okay now. It's okay. The nerves have settled down. Maybe it's the tea.
She was like, I thought she was going to throw up. She was that scared to do this. I told her, I was like, oh, my people are so nice though. It's all good. I knew you guys would be really nice to her.
Thanks.
And even when the videos start coming out with Rhonda, like people will be nice to her. They'll take all their abuse out on me. That's just what usually happens on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll look at that. Enjoy the anchoring class.
They said, we love you, Rhonda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
When will Rhonda be featured on your weekly Monday, Friday broadcasts? I think
End of March.
No, I think sooner than that.
Oh, is it?
I think in 3 weeks our videos start, and I think there's 10 of them total and it'll be Monday and Fridays. We have so much content that there'll be 2 videos. I'm sorry, a week.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, they're really.
I'm very
fun.
nervous in the first one though.
She is very.
I feel
nervous.
cringy watching it myself. To be fair, so just.
But you relaxed real quick after that.
Yeah, for sure. But that first one, like, I just can see it in myself, and I'm like, yeah.
Someone says, how do you do financial transactions on land? Cash, card, crypto? Everything's all interconnected now. You just use PayWave. You use your debit card. You just tap it on a machine, and it's all done. It's actually smarter to pull cash out because you get international transaction fees. But a lot of places don't take cash anymore. You have to use a card. So it's very easy, very simple. But I want to get in the habit of pulling out cash and mostly paying with cash. You just go to an ATM and pull it out because you save money that way.
Minster kicks ass as well. I'll kick butt. Thanks.
Someone said James can take a joke. I'm not sure what that refers to, but I probably am going to get offended.
I'm glad you guys are liking my gram. That's nice. Thanks.
People are saying they hate Papa John's and they're watching a Papa John's ad. Any ad you see is based on
what
your algorithm. It has nothing to do with me telling you.
I just learned that. That's really interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
James gave me the update.
It says, Rhonda, after your first big squall, you won't be worried about YouTube. Oh, trust me, we had crazy weather in the Sounds. We had 50-knot gusts that flipped the dinghy over twice while we were towing it. No, the outboard wasn't on things.
Yeah, it was actually really interesting because we thought we had fairly good weather as well. Like we know that we had some sketchy weather, but when we rewatched all the footage that we'd filmed, it was really surprising how much shitty weather we actually had.
Mostly bad weather.
Yeah,
but we had a blast and we were both like stoked.
Yeah, we were full stoke. It was awesome. And
she was swimming almost every day. Like, it was so cold and she was swimming every day.
It wasn't that cold. The first one was cold.
Someone asked if Rhonda scuba dived before. No, but we want to try to get her certified up in Brisbane. So if anyone knows of like scuba shops that want to work with us with the channel to get her certified, hit me up, send me an email.
Yeah, when he's snorkeled.
Let's get someone asked, we have any plans to go back to Hawaii? No plans currently to go back to Hawaii. No plans to go back to the United States for the foreseeable future either. Anywhere, even mainland. What else? Just know that we are all naked out here, Rhonda.
Awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of naked, we went skinny dipping in Mill Arm, which was fantastic. We did like a shore tide. That's like one of my favorite videos. That was our favorite spot.
It was the last spot.
Yeah, we went into this really tight cove and then we shore tied and the water was really nice. Skinny dipped because it was like no one around. It was fantastic.
It was so nice. So safe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I'm stoked. I actually haven't been scuba diving since I left LA because I didn't have a scuba partner. I thought about going to Fiji and I went and looked at one of the operations and I felt sketch about the one I looked at. So I didn't end up going because I like being alive. But I have all my scuba stuff. And I have 2 steel tanks. So if we can get her certified and get her a setup, then we could start diving. I might even get rid of my tanks and just rent tanks everywhere because it's like they take up so much space. Says, how isn't your beard sun-kissed? Because it's getting into wizard mode. I'm old. I may look young, but I'm about to be 49 in like a month from now.
James is excited.
I know I want the full white wizard beard and then my hair to stay this color for a bit. So I look like, wizard mode. My hair is very sun-kissed. Look at that. I've had people accuse me of getting my hair bleached, but highlighted.
Highlights.
But it's just from being in the sun. Someone said, James, you had everything in the world going against you when you left California. Now look at you now. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. I feel very, very blessed to have met Rhonda. It is like makes everything better. Ocean Gandalf, indeed.
That's so gold. I like that. Mental age doesn't count. Cute.
What else? What
They're
else? I
all-
wonder if we have any. What else? It says, "What do you think for a professionally redone refit Alberg 30 for 48K? Is that too much money in your opinion?" Between what I've invested and what my sponsors have invested, there's more than $45,000 worth of investment in Triteia. So unless like 48K, I think is a bit high for an Alberg 30, because remember, it's unlikely you'll ever be able to like, I could never sell Triteia for $45,000. Like, this is a $30,000 boat because she's famous. Like, otherwise, like, you know, that's the other thing to know when you're refitting a boat, outfitting a boat. She isn't worth what you're putting into her. Boats are only worth what you can convince someone to buy them for. So you can't think of it as it's a dollar for dollar investment is what her value is. You have to know that you're just investing in it for yourself. If you're trying to like flip boats, like get into a different market, because it's a terrible idea.
So cute.
Someone said, "Will purchasing the Anchor tutorial allow us to watch it as well as reviewing it in the future?" Yeah, if you buy the archive, you can watch it as many times as you want. And there's a PDF that covers everything in text. Actually, more. I think I wrote more in the text. I think there's like 5,500 words. No, there's got to be more than that.
Oh yeah, it's quite decent.
It's huge.
Yeah.
The PDF that comes with the tutorial is like crazy. So yeah, you can look at it as many. It's like it's on like a Google Drive, and you'll be able to watch it as many times as you want.
It's a good read. Like, I read it, and you can't like it's an easy, good read, and informative. What's in your ditch bag?
What's in the ditch bag?
Chamomile.
Chamomile. Like water packets, emergency water packets, flares. I don't remember. Fire starting equipment. The EPIRB would be tossed in there. There's granola bars in there. And I want to get a fold out solar panel to throw in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says, worst case scenario, knock on wood, you lost everything out at sea. What do you do? How would you recover? Do you have a plan B? I don't understand that question. Do I have a plan B for what?
If the boat goes
If
down.
I lose everything, you get in the life raft, you get rescued, and you get to shore and you find a new boat. I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure how to answer that. And there's like, yeah, cross bridges as you come to them. You don't, I always say, you don't plant bad seeds, plant good seeds. Rhonda, will you be adding to the onboard library any favorite books?
Ooh. I did bring a couple of books, but my books are quite different to James's books.
What books did you bring? That's what they're asking. They want to know Rhonda books.
My books. My books are kind of like, I guess, self-helpy books, kind of like, yeah, chakra books, and
because you do breath work and yoga and stuff like that.
Yeah, mine are like, yeah, wizard books.
Wizard books. Warlock books.
What? Witchy books.
Someone said, James, you absolutely nailed this passage as far as weather. I did pretty good. I watched the weather long and hard. That's why I waited as long as I did. I chose my window very well, and then I strategically sailed with the wind I had to stay out of the worst of the Tasman.
Solar panels are going great.
Yeah, solar panels are great. Don't need to upgrade the solar. Might add another battery since there's two of us on board. Oh, hello, Will. Will mentioned the hand pump water maker. I used to have one, but it just took up space, and the membrane was expired, so I just like gave it away. We might be getting a water maker this year from the guys at MIT that I've been consulting with for like 2 years. Rhonda, do you ever let anyone anyone's comments upset you, just block them. Do not let.
Oh, do
okay,
not.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Victoria.
I mean, I police the comments pretty hardcore, especially on YouTube.
Yeah, he does his
But
thing. On my own.
She's definitely had to like count to 10 a couple of times on Instagram, mostly with messages, people trying to tell you stuff, especially when my comms went dark, right?
Oh gosh, that was really stressful. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. The amount of messages I got about that. I mean, it's nice that people care in that, but then there were just questions that it was just overwhelming for me. Like I just jumped into this, and then to be kind of, I was still working as well, so I was working, looking up for James, trying to pack all my things up. End up, I had all that going on, and then had all these people like DMing me and things, asking what was going on and offering advice, and it was pretty intense. I think that's probably what created the most anxiety for me around that. Like if it was just the shore team and that kind of us processing that without the extra, I probably wouldn't have felt as anxious. But yeah, that every message that came, it was just like, yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, people have been amazing, and yeah, really supportive and really beautiful comments and things, and yeah, it's been really nice. Overwhelming. One thing having your family and your friends being stoked for you on that and being really, really happy for you. They know your life and they know what you've been through and things. But for a bunch of strangers to be just coming on board and involved and sharing their thoughts, and it's bizarre. It's nice, but
the community's been very, very nice too.
They've been
very,
so nice.
Very sweet.
It's been amazing. Yeah.
Someone just asked when the Tasman Sea film will be. Tasman Crossing video will be out. I think it'll be 3 or 4 months. I'm trying to get us up to where we're only about 3 months delayed, but it's very difficult. We're actually going to regulate how much we film this year because it's so hard to not get pushed too far out. But we visit a lot of places, and there's a lot to show everyone. Someone said, does your engine charge your batteries? Yes, my engine also charges the batteries. And yes, I run the inverter off of my batteries.
We look healthy. Yeah, healthy. I think being happy makes you look healthy.
Lots of sex helps as well.
Being in love. Yeah.
Watch saltwater crocs. We are very concerned about saltwater crocs.
Anything in the ocean, Riley. Like
we've seen a lot of shark nets on the beaches here as well.
But heaps of people swimming off boats and that. So, yeah. I mean, they're pretty chill. Although that guy that we saw this morning said it was quite sharky up here. So he's taken his boat out to Manly, which is where we saw a bunch of people swimming. I swam there and it was fine. But it's definitely in the back of everything is here. Like everyone, Australia just wants to kill you.
Everything.
Like, it's like...
But I think the box jelly season will be kind of done when we get up into the tropics. So, I mean, obviously it's concerned. The crocodiles are things I'm more worried about. I'll swim with any shark. Like there is no shark that I wouldn't swim with. But crocodiles, I have zero interest in like slow dancing with those dudes. But then we looked up the stats on the crocs, and it's like they're pretty much a defense-based animal, unless you like. I mean, obviously, don't swim in areas where there's known crocs and mangroves and like murky water and stuff.
Oh gosh, no.
Someone asked if we're able to desalinate water. No, we do not have a water maker at this time. Someone said, you made it so far. That brings me to a point to where when I entered Sydney Heads at like 2:30 in the morning after crossing the Tasman solo, it was such a huge moment for me because I had completed the entire Pacific Ocean solo, 11,588 nautical miles on a 30-foot, 9-meter boat. And just like I don't feel proud often. And that was like a moment where I was like, hell yes, super stoked. And also like a really nice bookend to end my career as a solo sailor and to start my new life with Rhonda. So from here on out, the rest of the way around the world, we'll be doing everything together. And some people were like, oh, well, even you were concerned about me, like, you were like, do you really want to like not continue solo around the world? Like, is that something that's going to bother you? You were really worried about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, I don't know. For me, it's like, I never wanted to like see the entire world by myself. Like, I enjoy solo ocean crossings. Like, that I find them like meditation. I think they're, I love it. Like, I have no problem with it. But seeing all of this, like, the loneliness really would set in beautiful places where I was by myself all the time. Like cruising Fiji by myself. Fiji was amazing, incredible. And I was like, so the loneliness was hitting pretty deep in Fiji. And then when I got to New Zealand, I made really good friends with the Rolla crew and with the Womble crew. Like, I made some very dear friends. But still, it's just like not the same as having someone that you love and getting to look over at them. Like this morning, we drove past the Sydney Opera House in the most beautiful morning light.
Oh my gosh.
And like, it's just a different experience when you get to do it with someone. So, but I am proud of my accomplishment of sailing across the Pacific solo.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of solo stuff myself too, like in the van and just other times as well in my life. There's been, a lot of solo missions and seeing rad things, going on bike rides and stuff on my own and things like that, and just going to places, on your own and seeing things and watching sunsets and sunrises alone is like, yeah, I mean, it's all well and fine, but it definitely, when you've got someone to share that with and you've got someone to bounce off and just be with, just so much better. So I do get that, but it did concern me, like I didn't want to even to be honest, because we spoke so much on the passage, and I said to you, like, I don't want our communication to be taking away from what the passage was, right? Like wasn't. I was, but then you went
still
dead.
Alone.
But then you went dead, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but you were worried about the channel even. You were worried about, like, you're nervous about coming on the channel, worrying that like the people won't want to watch because it's like not me by myself anymore. And I told her, I was like, I'm not concerned about that. There will definitely be people that stop watching my YouTube channel because it's not a solo channel anymore, and that's fine. There are plenty of other solo channels out there. Like, I live my life based on my happiness, not based on like that. You know what I mean? So there's also another prominent solo YouTuber who I won't name, who just had their new partner move on board full time, and their new partner is very concerned about that as well. And then I won't say names until they decide to announce it, but
that's exciting for us a little bit as well.
Yeah. So let's see what's being said over here.
That's a lot of sparrow tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, how often do you dry dock?
Someone said how often. I just hauled out, I don't know, 6 months ago or maybe 4 months ago, and did the bottom in Maharaingi at Quayside Boatyard. I love those dudes. Ari, Robertson, really cool dudes. Ari and Aaron run that. Four generations of boat builders in that family, and that video of me hauling out is coming out I think on Monday. No, not on Monday. On Friday, is me hauling out Triteia at the boatyard. Someone said, what was your cutoff age for buying a boat and why? I was looking for boats in the 60s because I wanted a fiberglass boat. My cutoff date was like 1972. I didn't want anything older than 72 because I wanted a non-cord, solid fiberglass boat. So that's when I was looking. That's the time frame I was looking at.
No way it's find of a partner. Oh. Good job, Kooky Adventures.
What else? I don't think your dad never did chime in on here. No. Look at your phone, see if he tried to call you. Nope. Oh, that's another thing we can talk about. Another cool thing about me and Rhonda is she's only 2 years younger than me. And that's like something both of us were interested in, it only being with someone that was our age. For one, you made a Flash Gordon reference last night, which I got immediately. So like corny jokes from the 70s and 80s like work for both of us. But it's just so nice. And Rhonda is like, well, you're 46.
Yeah.
Just turned 46 in November.
Mhm.
And she has 2 grown children. So she's a mother. She already has her family grown. And then that's one of the reasons like she had the ability to just leave. So somebody on Instagram already said, oh, you guys gonna have a baby. We're both old. Like we're ancient, you know, like that's the benefit is like, you know, I told her, I was like, we can spend the rest of our life together. I'm pretty old already. So I'm not going to last that long. So you don't have to suffer through my existence that long. So. Someone says no boat hazing. I don't do that. So that's not my jam.
What's that?
They're saying no boat hazing. Like I would like haze you. That's not who I am. I'm a very caring person. What else?
Your game fuels is wrong. What do you think?
Hello, Robin. What else? What else? What do you think about Triteia now that you've spent a fair amount of time on her compared to other boats you've been on?
I guess she's pretty well set up because you're living aboard on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't honestly. She felt as soon as I stepped on board in Nelson, she just felt like I'd been here before. Like she just felt like home. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe gotta go through some stuff and have a little change around.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna overhaul the galley, and we were going through it a little bit last night.
Yeah, I got stuck.
She has full range to change anything in our living situation.
Yeah, I picked some
that she needs to change. Like it's totally chill with me.
But no, it's all good. I like her. What do you mean? Like
someone said, how did you two meet is the question.
She's out.
You get to answer this question.
How do we meet? James's YouTube channel popped up. I follow a bunch of YouTube channels, like selling channels, and have done for many, many years. And one of his, I think, just popped up at the bottom of my feed at some point. And I've been trying to remember when this was actually, because I can't recall exactly when it was. But yeah, so he just popped up, and
but you were watching my channel before I got to New Zealand.
I think so.
Yeah, I think you were saying.
I think I maybe had seen you or something.
That French poly video or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I can't honestly quite remember right now. But it didn't start following his Instagram account until you were in Whangarei as well. But yeah, I just kind of randomly messaged and things because we were in the same sort of area, selling around the same sorts of places and things, and we had this. Quite gnarly. We had a few quite big storms, and I just sent him this link to this.
The first time she messaged me was when I was sailing from Great Barrier to Waiheke, and there was a cyclone coming that ended up turning into a tropical storm. But I was running to Waiheke to anchor in a place that I had been several times, ridden out big storms. And that's the first time she ever messaged me. She sent me a direct message, and you'd been following my Insta for a little bit, but you hadn't interacted with me. No. She sent me a link to this thing called CB&B, which is like an Airbnb for moorings. She's like, I don't know if you know about this, but this might be a good spot for you to pick up a mooring if you're worried about the weather, which was really kind.
Yeah, we had used
and I had never heard of it. So, and then after that, it was very minimal interaction between us. Like you would respond to stories, and we would have minimal interaction until I was getting ready to head to the South Island, and then
James was like, he was sailing a lot up north, like in Northland, and I had done a lot of solo van lifing up there as well, and there was just, I think, this kind of a bit of a connection of where he was and where was anchoring, and I had been there before, and it was just this kind of like reminiscing on my time there solo as well. And yeah, it's kind of just messaged you and asked him if he was leaving or something, like like picking up the hook or something that morning.
You're like, are you leaving around? Are you heading down
the passage?
South?
Yeah, to start the passage down to New Plymouth.
To New Plymouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we started like really talking, and she was asking about my art. So then I sent her some links to like from the Huffington Post about some of the essays about my art. And then that's when we started having really in-depth conversations at that point.
Yeah.
And like no flirting at all. And even after a while, like I would slightly try to flirt, and she shut it down so hard. She was not having it. She was like, did not let that progress. But we had some really in-depth.
We had some beautiful
some very
conversations.
Serious conversations about sentimentalism, about life experiences, about memory, about, you know, you name it. Like,
yeah, that was what really kind of drew me in, was all of that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The James beyond the sailor.
Somebody asked what your children think about your new sailing life.
Mm-hmm. Probably going to talk about that later. What else? Infinity and beyond.
What else?
$46, yeah. No. I
know you guys thought I was a cradle robber. She just looks really young.
Yeah, I get that all the time. I still get ID'd sometimes. Thank you.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Can I believe the strength when James is pulling up the anchor? It's pretty impressive. It's freaking heavy. Oh my God.
It is very heavy.
It's really heavy.
That's how I stay fit.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Just hold on anchor.
Someone asked if this was my first boat. I have one before. Triteia was the first boat I ever owned. I used to share the expenses like slip fee and stuff of a Excalibur 26 Bill Crelock design in Southern California, but this is the only boat I've ever owned is Triteia.
So when did we actually meet? We met on the 27th.
27th of December. We had never spoken on the phone. We hadn't done a video call.
No,
I had like...
that's right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
When we first started, or when James invited me and things like that, and then it's kind of progressed, the conversation went on, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go down and go for a sail, go for an adventure. James had asked me if I wanted to do like a video call just to kind of, you know, because it might have been strange not to. But I was like, no, you know what, let's just keep it like this, and we'll just meet, you know. Yeah. And so we continued to talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, we would send like video clips, like video, you know, send video messages, or I was doing a lot of voice messages and things. I mean, clearly I knew what James looked like anyway and sounded like, so it wasn't like I was meeting a stranger. But yeah, I was like, no, you know what, let's just keep it like this. And yeah, well, I just liked the kind of, I don't know.
That was a funny thing too, is when we were interacting on Instagram for a long time before I followed her account, it wasn't until she was like,
oh yeah,
she was really kind to me, and like, she seemed concerned. She was like, oh, I'm just checking in. Are you like heading around the Cape today? And it was like, it triggered me because I was like, it was like kindness in a different way. And I was like, who is this person? Like, because I get hundreds of messages from people. A lot of messages from people. So her account was private. So I didn't know what she looked like. Nothing.
Yeah.
And so that at that point I was like, that is like, so I followed her account, her private account. And then I saw she was super hot. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, this girl's really cool. We've been having like good conversations, and she's like super, super cute. So then I was like, oh, what's up, girl? How you doing? And then we continued to just have like really good conversations. But yeah, so she showed up to Triteia. We had never spoken on the phone. We had never video called. And
it was so casual. A friend of mine, Mel, picked me up from the airport in Blenheim and just, spun yarns all the way to the marina. But so we were just standing outside talking, and I was just messaging James, to like, hey, yo, I'm here kind of thing. And he just wanders up on us, and literally it just felt like we'd met. Like, it was the strangest, most comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And then the three of us just stood there having a yarn, like we were just all old mates.
Exactly.
It was bizarre. It was awesome. It was so awesome.
No, we're not going to get a bigger boat. Triteia is the perfect size for us. The idea of like having to like refit a different boat makes me want to jump off.
I've just moved. I don't need to move again. I'm good.
Exactly.
Oh, what is that?
What? No.
Just the.
Stupid question. How many situations like the perfect storm when you get to it at sea? If you sail in the wrong ocean at the wrong time of year, you can find yourself in those stupid situations all the time. But if you sail in the correct oceans at the correct time of year, you'll, like the Pardis circumnavigated 2.5 times and never saw what they consider a serious storm. It's very easy. Rhonda, do you have your passport? Of course she has a passport. We're in another country.
I had to fly here.
Yeah. What else? What else? I have to use the head. I have to pee. So you entertain them.
I entertain them.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Oh, I don't know. On the spot. 30. I don't know, guys. What do you want to hear? You think? You think you got this? Where are we going next? Hopefully out for a walk. Thank you. It's
Read
all.
The questions.
Sorry?
Read the questions out loud so that if people miss them.
People listening. I feel like I need to. I might just swap places with you.
No, okay.
Yeah. Some.
What else?
What's that? Just ask questions. Recent talent.
Rhonda, you rule. I agree with that. That's awesome.
You get a chance to tell us what you really think.
Shane Bones asked about my anchor. I responded, Shane, in the chat. My anchor is 45-pound Mantis, and I have 300 feet of chain and 200 feet of rope rode attached to that. Now tell us what you really think about James. Yeah, so that's the question of the hour.
How I really... Well, I don't know. I'm here, so...
the jury's out. She got rid of all her stuff, sold everything, put her car on Facebook Marketplace. And if you guys are shopping for a car in New Zealand, she's got a car for sale.
Yeah, I'm pretty much out there.
Shane Bones keeps asking about anchor size. I responded in the chat, and I told you a second ago, it's a 45-pound Mantis. Manly Hotel Beer Garden is good, warm weather. We went to a really good Mexican Tex-Mex place yesterday in Manly. We were anchored at Store Bay. Two night, not last night, night before last. We had fun. We went to the quarantine place. I don't know what that's called, Quarantine Bay or quarantine site. Really cool. And then Manly was nice. It was a little rainy when we were there, but
it was really cool. I liked it though.
Takes a brave woman to jump the way you are. Boy, I tell you, she is very, very brave for sure.
Hell.
What else? Someone said, good thing you're heading north. Hobart's getting hit with a big southerly today. Yeah, it's like we've been watching, trying to find a northerly that could get us down, even to Eden, and then from Eden down. And the problem is we still don't have the ability to download. I guess we could do it with Starlink, but like without the proper ability to download trustworthy way to download weather, I'm not going to tackle the Bass Strait. There's no way.
Yeah, but with that really short window of when we've got to get back by as well, like we'd just be under the pump the whole time. We wouldn't be able to enjoy it. So
no, we could get stuck. And it's also
that's a
1,200 nautical mile round trip from here to Hobart.
Yeah.
That would add to our, we have to do 6,000 miles this year anyway.
It sucks. Like when we first started talking about it, which was on the Passage as well. That's when it first started coming up, you know. I was really bummed, and then when I got here, I was like, yeah, we're definitely not going. But I've been watching the weather too, and it just made sense. It was just stupid. It would have been awful. Like it would have put so much pressure on us unnecessarily, and you know, it just would have sucked. It's just stupid. Like, I mean,
makes no sense.
Miranda and Elliot have been looking for that window for a while, and us watching it as well, and me watching the weather while James was on Passage. Like, there's just no time, you know, especially because we need to be back. If we didn't need to be back and we didn't have that, then it would be different. But we'll hit it on the next round.
So yeah, now the plan is like in a couple days we're gonna go to Pittwater for like a week, and then we're gonna go to Newcastle and then Nelson Bay, spend some time in Nelson Bay, and then we're just gonna start hopping up the coast in like 30, 40, 50 mile chunks until we get to Brisbane. We want to be to Brisbane maybe by my birthday, which is like April 11th. It'd be nice to be in Brisbane a few weeks before we head to the Outback on April 27th. So that's the plan. And then it's nice because when we get back from the Outback, we'll be 100 miles from Noosa Head. So then we'll be kind of in place to head up behind the Great Barrier Reef and get our cruising season really started. What else? Somebody asked how Starlink is working. Well, Starlink would not connect offshore. And Starlink is very bizarre. Like the Roam thing, I was under the impression that you could just transfer from country to country as you moved because it's a Roam. But that technically you can, but you actually have to cancel your whole account, resell it to myself, and open it in a new email account. So it's very bizarre the way they have it set up. And then I don't even know if Indonesia is going to be online by the time we get there because it's not online yet. So the Starlink might be a brick by the time we get to Indo. So who knows? I mean, it'll be good. It was good for me in Marlborough Sounds because I got a ton of videos loaded that I needed to get uploaded that I couldn't have gotten uploaded just on my cell plan. And it'll be good for us this year. But Starlink, it's very expensive and a little tricky. Someone asked if there's a year of Alberg 30 that is cord. I don't think any of the Alberg 30s are cord. Someone said, where did I go to high school? My very, very, very short career in high school was in Hobbs, New Mexico. I dropped out in like 10th grade. What else? You guys have any other questions?
I just had a funny thought about the head.
Really? We're on live here. Someone says they're from Silver City, New Mexico. Someone said, you thought about sailing to Europe and the Med? That'll be on the second circumnavigation, the east about. On this circumnavigation, we won't be going to Europe. What else? Let me see how many. 244 people still on. 1 hour and 38. I always lose my voice around the 2 hour mark. A little easier with Rhonda, though. It's a lot easier with Rhonda because it's not just me yammering.
I'm looking to it.
Someone said, is there a network of people sailing alone around the world you could connect with out on the waters? Not that I know of. I only met 2 other solo sailors all the way across the Pacific. And that was like Holly and then this Frenchman I met in Tiki Hao who I couldn't speak with because he didn't know English. Ask about a new tracker. We're not sure what's up with the tracker. As of right now, since the predict wind is dead, there's I was able to manually tracker, which is we might manually update it as we go, but can't afford to buy a new Iridium Go. We're in talks with Predict Wind, but if they don't want to work with us as a sponsor, I don't see us replacing it anytime soon. Someone's from Ruidoso, New Mexico. It's beautiful up there. So pretty in Ruidoso. Someone said there's an Alberg 37 just sold. Here in the bay, there's really nice Turkish sailor named Mert. He lives on an Alberg 34. There were only 4 made. It's from the 80s. It was one of the last Albergs ever made. And I went and had coffee with him. And he has a little cat named Kizim, which means my daughter in Turkish. He's a journalist. He works for like the BBC equivalent for Australia and broadcasts the news in Turkish once a week. And then he also writes for them. He's a musician, really nice guy. We're going to go visit with him and Kizim later today.
Oh, I can't wait to meet Kizim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Someone's asking, I'm worried about orcas eating your rudder. No, I'm not. I'm not worried about pirates riding orcas either. What else? You guys have any more questions?
Is it a common thing? Orcas eating rudders?
There's one pod of orcas that are disabling boats' rudders in near Portugal. It's a real thing that's happening, but it's one pod, and orcas interact with boats, tens of thousands of orcas all over the world, but no one thinks about that. Now everybody thinks every orca bites rudders, which isn't the case. Are you going to South Africa? Yes, we are going to South Africa. We will be there around November of 20. What year is this? 24. 25. We'll be in South Africa probably around November of 2025. We'll probably be there for like 3 or 4 months. We might decide to stay in Africa for a year because there's a lot to see, but we'll see. It's funny. I had someone complain on YouTube recently in the comments saying that the channel is really boring because I've spent too much time in New Zealand and it's always the same. And I've never gone to the same place twice. After leaving California, I've never visited the same place twice. Everything I went to in New Zealand was always new. And like, I don't actually give a shit if people are sad because I'm going to places I want to see. And I film it and I share it with people who want to see it. So, but it was funny. He was like, me and a lot of other people stopped watching your channel because it's boring now. And I was like, bye, Felicia. Someone said, orcas are too busy taking out great whites. I saw that news today that orca killed that great white. Wow. Someone said, do I have a spinnaker pole or just a whisker pole? I do have a spinnaker pole, but I only fly my spinnaker as an asymmetrical, so you don't need a pole. It's too dangerous. It's more of a risk than I want to take as a solo sailor and even now as a short-handed sailor. I remember racing. I did 4-deck on race teams in Southern California where there'd be 5 of us who are all very skilled sailors and spinnakers have gotten away from us. So I have no interest on ever sailing a symmetrical spinnaker on a cruising boat. I'm not in a race. I'm not in a hurry. Someone asked if I ever sailed a Pitcairn. No, I did not. Did not. What else? You guys got any more questions? How are we doing? 143. See, 2 hours goes fast.
True. That's true.
Are there any of Rhonda's people in the chat? Please say hi to Rhonda if her Kiwi people are there.
How many Kiwis have got in the house?
It's getting trickier and trickier to figure out these live things as we move further and further around the world. It was like noon when we started it here, and it's like 9 p.m. in New York City. Still, like 50% of the YouTube following is from the States, so I try to keep it leaning towards like what's the most convenient for the people in the States because that's the biggest following.
We're on to people now.
Amen. There you go.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. Oh.
Is Triteia your favorite or forever boat? Yes, Triteia is my forever boat. 4 a.m. in Sweden. Thank you so much. But we get up at 4.
Wow, yeah.
We actually get up at 4 regularly. So,
yeah.
But I appreciate you being on at 4 a.m.
And
also Sweden. I've sailed in the Stockholm Archipelago and the Åland Islands. I love sailing in the Baltic. It's really cool. Except there's no tide. So if you run aground, you're hosed.
David's a Kiwi, but lives in
Nice.
Oz. Yo, David.
That's a really funny thing. Like, I spent a year in New Zealand. I cannot tell the difference between a Kiwi accent and an Australian accent. And I don't
have an accent.
She doesn't think she has an accent, which is very funny.
This is how we joke about it all the time. We were walking around yesterday in Manly, and of course I can pick up.
She was saying like Aussie words and
there's
stuff.
People walking by saying stuff, and I'd just be like, yeah.
And I'm like, how does that sound any different to you?
It doesn't. That doesn't sound any different.
Very funny.
Yeah, it does. Definitely, just like you do.
Super funny. I know I do. I sound like a redneck even in the States. So
yeah, I just sound normal. I love your accent. What accent?
I do too. Her voice is like butter to me, so I'm a big fan.
I don't hear it.
I have a separate crush just on her voice and her accent.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
What else? What else? Yes, we're sailing.
Yeah, really strong. Me or him? Who's got the strong accent?
I have a strong accent, I'm sure.
Kiwis are a bit touchy about being mistaken as well.
Someone's talking about my hat. I just bought this hat yesterday at a surf shop.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's
like for me.
I couldn't find a good hat. I lost my Hawaii in Hawaii hat, but check it out. It's a surf hat, so this is perfect for sailing. It's got a chin strap, so I won't lose it overboard. Like I lost my Hawaii one overboard at Great Barrier Island. When I came in, it got really crazy. Say fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Fish and chips.
Someone said, y'all come back to the States. No plans to come back to the States anytime soon.
It's James who doesn't have an accent.
Are you sailing around the Horn? When we get to... Currently, we plan on going to South Africa, Namibia. We want to do the Skeleton Coast. And then St. Helena, Ascension Island, and then Brazil. We want to go up the Amazon. And then at that point, I'll determine if I think Triteia is still fit enough to do the Horn. I have 3 friends who have done it on small boats. I know that in her condition right now, she could. But that's something we'll decide when we get to that point. Right now, I'm going to say yes, we plan on it. But I'm also like a realist. So it'll really be determined on the state of everything at that point, which is like 3 years away anyway. So someone said, Rhonda's a Kiwi? Hard to tell.
Waihe. Oh, from Waihe. Nice.
What else? Have you lost glasses overboard? You know what's so funny about that question is like my old, like I had really like $100 clear frames like this from, what's the name of that company? There's like a company that you can buy them from in LA. I can't remember the name of the company, but they were $100 prescription, and I only need them for reading. But I lost those overboard, and since they're clear, we dove on it. Me and the dude who he actually almost hit my boat, and so me and him, I was like, you got to help me find these. So we were both diving trying to find it. We couldn't find them because they were clear, and these are $10 from Countdown in New Zealand. I bought a bunch of them, and I've never lost the $10 ones overboard, only the $100 ones. Someone asked, will I take Rhonda to Bora Bora or Tahiti? Yes, but not for a very, very, very long time. Someone said, when sailing long distances, do you have any recommendations on how to prepare or be careful about potential danger? Read every book you can read about sailing, not just like how-to books, but read every book from Hal Roth, from the Smeatons, from Letitia, from Robin Knox Johnson. Read every book from the 60s, all the 60s books, because they had nothing. They did all this with no GPS, with just sextants. They had kerosene lights for, you know what I mean? They had nothing. So you read all those books And it's going to give you a clear perspective of like, you know, suddenly, boom, we have GPS on this little bitty thing for $100. And we can see where we are in the world with an iPad. And you'll realize like how simple it is. Another thing based on that, I've been thinking about this lately. And this might sound like a dickhead thing to say, but it's just the truth. Is like there are a large number of teenagers who have like sailed around the world by themselves solo. Now people are like, these young people are remarkable. I'm here to tell you, I've sailed almost halfway around the world by myself. It's not difficult. Those teenagers were not necessarily remarkable. The thing is, the hard part of sailing around the world is getting to the point of getting to go sailing. Like if those kids had like bought their own boats and refit their own boats, then that would have been remarkable. But the act of actually sailing across oceans, if you have a boat that's ready, an outfit, it's not difficult. It's really not. Like you can do it. You can do it. You just have to have your boat outfit. Like literally the financial aspect of getting to that point, that's the hardest part. But actually sailing across an ocean by yourself, there's not a lot of danger out there. The key is you don't want to fall overboard. That's always bad form. And everything else is like, you know, shorten sail. Don't put the boat under stress, unnecessary stress, and don't sail in oceans when you shouldn't sail in oceans. And like you can read any of the Cornell books, Jimmy Cornell's books. He tells you when to sail in which oceans at the what time, and shows you all the routes. Get those books. You follow his advice, and it's pretty simple. The hardest part is figuring out how to do it financially. Literally, that's the most difficult part.
Oh, cool. Scuba contacts.
Oh, nice. Thanks, you, Danny. That's awesome.
Yes, there is a 6th one.
Yes, we have a section on board and all the updated nautical almanacs. Where are you currently floating? Botany Bay. No, just like it says in the thing, we're in Sydney. I guess Botany Bay is probably maybe considered. We're in Sydney Harbor in Blackwattle, which is awkward to say.
Blackwattle.
What else?
Oceanic Birds book behind Rhonda.
How often do you change your currency? My currency is a debit card that I pay wave everywhere, so I don't change it. I change it when I change countries. What happened?
This book.
What about it?
They're asking about this book.
This is like one of the coolest books I've ever bought. It is. Open it up for them.
It's a beautiful book.
It is fantastic. It is so cool. And I just bought this one for Australia birds. And I've been like checking off all the birds we're seeing. You know. I like birds. What else? Is it more expensive to live on the ocean or on land? 1,000 times more expensive to live on land. Like when I lived in LA, I worked like paycheck to paycheck, a pretty good paying job, and I was still broke all the time. Like it's like an endless cycle of like working your ass off to give someone else money. And now living on the boat, like when I was solo, it was about $1,200 a month US is about what it cost me to live. Now we added Starlink because I need it for the channel and stuff. And with Rhonda coming aboard, it doesn't increase that much because it's just a little bit of food. Like the only increase is a little bit more food, but all the other costs are the same as a solo sailor versus 2 of us. So, and neither one, you drink socially, but you don't really drink. Like that's a huge expense, and eating out is a huge expense. But like, you know, if you maintain that stuff, you manage that sort of stuff, it is, and you live under anchor, you just try to avoid marinas at all costs. It's really affordable lifestyle. Someone says, do you do your U.S. tax returns? Yeah, U.S. is the only country in the world where you still have to file taxes, even as an expatriate. Even if you haven't lived in the country in 20 years, you're expected to file like a 0 tax income. It's insane. The U.S. is insane. So yeah, there's no way to get away from filing.
More taxes. More live chats.
What else?
I like Store Bay.
Store Bay was
Yeah,
awesome.
Sea Monkey. Yeah, I liked it.
We really like Store Bay.
I kind of like the next one around as well, but just the rock formations and stuff were really, really cool. There were people jumping off the rock
Was
ledges
that
and stuff.
Little Manly?
No, the one before.
Wasn't that Little Manly?
Yes, it was Little Manly.
Yeah,
Little Manly. But having there was no public access to the store, which is awesome. So it was nice and quiet in terms of that. There was only boaties in there.
Someone said song of choice when you're out on the sea. I don't listen to any music when I'm on passage ever, or even day sailing. I never, even when I would take people out, like landlubbers out, I don't allow anyone to play music because like hearing the sounds of the sea is like a huge part of the experience. Now, like when we're doing passage together, if we're like the only time I would ever listen to music on long passages is if I was feeling lonely. And like when I'm making dinner or doing the dishes, I might put on music. But for the most part, it's like you're canceling out a huge part of the experience by playing music, which is basically just noise at that point.
Sometimes in the morning or something, like we'll put music on
under anchor.
But like last night, for instance, there was that boat blasting out. Oh my god! When we got back from Manly, and it was just like, man, it was full on.
So is fishing viable to reduce food costs? Well, if the oceans weren't so overfished, it would be. We fished all over the Sounds, and we didn't catch fish until Rhonda. We went up on a boat, and they had caught a barracuda.
Yeah, we needed some
And
bait.
she got some bait, and then she caught 2 gurnards. Well, I caught one. I caught a kahawai near to.
Oh, that was before me.
Before when I was on the North Island, I caught a kahawai just from trawling. But I trawled everywhere in New Zealand with the same thing I caught the kahawai with. Didn't catch anything. And then she caught 2 gurnards in the Marlborough Sounds, but that was with bait.
With bait, yeah.
But we haven't researched what fish are here in Australia yet.
Yeah, what can we catch here? Who knows?
Anyone knows?
Who knows what's the, like in New Zealand, it's like.
Someone said, do your videos outline your anchor locker modifications? Yes, there's a video on my anchor locker from the first season when I bought Triteia.
Are you going to record your journey each step of the way?
Yes.
For us as well, like our whole journey, if you go to my Instagram account, like from getting on the plane to meeting James, is all documented.
Yeah.
And as is YouTube. Like
we have footage from like right after we first met. Yeah, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, like we filmed right into Picton, like it's just our first little adventure.
No, someone asked if I'm going to miss solo sailing. Absolutely not. Not at all.
Oh, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Do I follow free range sailing? Yes. Yep. Yeah, they had a Klansman. Actually, was messaging with them when we were trying to go to Tasmania, and he was giving me a bunch of tips on where to go down there. Is that your sister?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What else? Just don't get beaten up by kangaroo. Yeah, those kangaroo look so jacked. They look like they say, like kangaroo are just deer that went to prison. They're like T-Rex deer. They're so strange. They do have snapper and dolphin.
Oh, there is snapper.
When you say dolphin fish, like mahi-mahi, is that what you mean? Dolphin fish? Flathead, they said. I don't know what that is.
And is it best to use bait?
Flathead. Everybody's saying flathead, whiting.
Like, what's the deal with the bait? Soft bait, jigs? What's the best method?
Someone said, would you ever blue water a Catalina 34? I just bought one. I don't know anything about Catalina 34s, but I met an Argentinian who would sell the Catalina 36 from Florida all the way to Australia. I met them in Fiji, but they made it all the way to Australia on a Catalina 36. So they're perfectly capable of sailing in the trade winds for sure. I'm sure the 34 is as well. Flathead. Okay. And we need to find more wood chips for our Kiwi Sizzler. We're like big fans of that. There's a whole video of us smoking fish on the beach.
But we need to find a fish.
New Zealand, but we need to find fish and more chips.
We could go to the fish shop over here.
Oh yeah, we're right by the Sydney Fish Market.
We could just.
What else? Okay, mahi. Nice. Well, and that's the other thing too, is like I didn't fish a ton, especially offshore, because I could never justify taking the life of a large fish, and you would catch a large fish in the ocean because I was by myself and because I didn't have a freezer. But with two of us on board, it's far more, I can easily justify us taking a larger fish because we can consume that fish within 2 days. I couldn't justify removing it from the breeding system, from the ecosystem, just for because I'm never short on food.
So much.
You know, I'm never. So, but now with two of us, it's much easier for me to justify. Not as many snappers New Zealand, though. Yeah, there's been that question quite a few times.
Oh.
Flathead on lures. Makes great eating. Nice.
Thank you. Babe Islands.
Well, we are not going to Melbourne, unfortunately. You've been to Melbourne before.
Oh, yeah, my sister used to live there. So I've been there a few times.
When are you replacing the rigging, in all caps? I put brand new rigging on right before I left LA, so I don't have to replace the rigging for like 10 years. How often do you change your shroud lines? Like I just said, standing rigging was brand new when I left LA, so I don't need to change it like every decade. I'll probably change it when we get back after the circumnavigation, just because it's pretty cheap to change once you have all the fittings. I think it was like $700 just for the wire, and I do it all myself. So, is there a map of your journey? Yes, there's a tracker. I can't post it right now because we're on the thing. But yeah, you can. If you go to the website, you can find the tracker. Oh, no, you can't. Yeah, there's a tracker somewhere. It might be in the description of this video. What else? No, we would never get a pet on board, ever. Too difficult sailing to islands, and also like rowing a dog ashore in a 30 knot below.
No.
Is like
not interested.
I used to have to do that with steady. It's not fun. Would I use Dyneema rigging? I would not use Dyneema rigging for an offshore boat because you have to tend to it for like the whole first year. It slowly stretches and you're constantly tuning your rig. And I don't want to. If I had a coastal cruiser, I would have full Dyneema rig. I think it's awesome, but not for ocean going boat. What flags are you flying? The flags that we legally have to fly. The United States flag and the Australian flag. We're going to put up our OCC Burgee too, but I keep forgetting.
Not even a parrot.
Not even a parrot.
Not even a parrot.
Bird shit all over the cabin does not appeal to me.
They stink.
Oh, yeah, 2 hours and I haven't lost my voice because she's taking up half the voice time, you see. How many people are still on? 233. That's still.
Hold on.
Are you chill? You're all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. What else? Says, welcome, Rhonda. Looking forward to your video adventures together. Sounds like a cultured global account. Well, maybe accent is what they meant, but hers, not yours, James. Yeah, my accent is definitely not cultured.
Oh, that's so funny.
Someone said, what shape the oceans are in, James? Well, it's like I've read so many books from like the Age of Sail and before, and even the 60s, and they saw far more stuff in the ocean than I've ever seen. You see, once you leave land, you see almost nothing in the oceans nowadays. And I've fished quite a bit at sea and not caught anything. So the oceans are definitely extremely overfished. And just looking at the coral state in Fiji and stuff, like the warming temperatures, it's a real concern for sure. What else? You guys got any more questions for Rhonda? Was Cyclone Gabriel the worst weather you've experienced?
Night.
I mean, I guess technically, but I was in a marina, so it was like not a big deal. But by design, it's the only one I went to a marina for was Cyclone Gabriel. I mean, I grew up in tornadoes, so the worst experience I've had on a boat, yes, but I grew up with 4 or 5 tornadoes a year, and we would go into a small hole in the ground and hide. So not the worst weather I've ever seen, for sure. Someone says, when do you set off? I'm confused about that question. Any more questions? I think we're about to tap out. I'm getting very hungry for lunch. Thank y'all for watching. Someone said, thanks for showing us the world. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in to the live stream. What is the best size boat for 2 people to sail comfortably in your opinion? I would say a 40-foot boat. And the reason I say that is because it's nice to have people visit, and a 40-foot boat is a really good sized boat to be able to have company. Now, if you're just 2 people who hate all other people on the planet and you just want to be together on the boat, a 36-foot boat, 34, 36-foot boat is perfectly fine. Like if this 30-foot boat feels perfectly fine for the 2 of us. But if you want to entertain people, if you want people to visit you, I think a 40-foot boat is like the perfect size because it's small enough to easily maintain with 2 people, and docking fees aren't as bad. And being able to manage a 40-foot boat in a marina in high winds is like totally doable. That's what you really have to think about. Like at sea, everything's kind of easy, but when you're close to land, especially in tight areas, is it going to be difficult to manage the boat? 40-foot boat is a great size for 2 people.
Zachary, there is only one channel currently. I do not have my own channel.
No.
No.
She has her Instagram account, which is like was intense anxiety for her to even start that. So, but she posts a lot of stuff on there, and it's fun because she posts like she has such a different perspective on things, and she's like allowed herself to be vulnerable on there about what she was feeling. So I suggest to check that out. I can post the link real quick again. There you go.
Excited to what's coming up on the channel yet. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. The clips are fun.
Yeah, the videos, all the episodes I've done with us, it came out fantastic.
Yeah.
Rhonda's super funny, and she like fucks with me, which is pretty funny and new. So
yeah, you might get some giggles.
She cracks me up a lot, which makes for good video.
All right. To get to bed,
we're gonna tap out too. We gotta make lunch. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And yeah. Here's Rhonda. Thanks for tuning in. Also, Rhonda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks for taking a chance on me and the channel. And I told you everyone was going to be sweet.
Lovely.
And yeah, look forward to you guys getting to see the upcoming videos with Rhonda and then everything we're filming from now on. So we love you guys. Thanks for everything. And fair winds.
Bye.